A couple weeks ago, I got in the jacuzzi, and you know how when you're in the jacuzzi and the jacuzzi has like that sharp edge to it, and so if you're quick enough, right, it can cut you. And so I ended up getting a cut on my leg. And as you know, time was going on, a couple days later, it started to burn, and I'm just like, oh my God, like this is hurting me. And the Holy Spirit began to speak to me. And he says, many of you guys are dealing with pain and hurt that you won't allow me to heal. He says, many of you guys are still touching wounds that I'm trying to heal you from. And he says, I can't allow you to heal if you're allowing yourself to do it on your own. God says in this season, in this year, you will receive the healing that you've always looked for from me. And you're walking around with an open wound because every time you think about it, you start to scratch, you start to irritate it, and then you get frustrated and you get upset. But God says, if you allow me to be God and you focus on what I told you to focus on, you won't even realize that the scar that you had, the wound that you have, is now healed. God says too many of you guys are trying to be Mr. Fix It, Mrs. Fix It, but God says you want me to fix it, but you also want to fix it yourself. God says I cannot allow you to keep hurting yourself and keep injuring yourself if you won't allow me to do my work. And in this season, I believe that there's many of you that are going to receive healing in this season. God says, if you focus on what I told you to focus on, he says, I'll heal the rest. Woo! Because in this season, I'm going to heal you like never before. He says, many of you guys are walking around with open wounds. He says the wounds that you guys had, you guys get frustrated. But he says every time I'm at the door knocking, he says you allow me to enter in and try to fix it. But he says you pushes me away because you're still holding on to that pain. He says in this season, let it go. He says in this season, when you look at the scar, it won't remind you of the pain, but it will remind you of why you had to go through the pain. Woo! God says, I'm going to heal your body. He says, because the pain was necessary. Woo! He says the pain is necessary for the elevation of where he is about to give you. Woo! And where he is about to take you. He says, do not worry about what is going on. He says, do not worry about the scar. He says, because the scar is only a testimony of what you've been through.